Hi, everyone. Welcome to Let's Talk. My name is Nick Cosgrove, and today I'm joined by Robyn Scully. Robyn and I are on our 8th Q&A. We've been doing one Q&A each week from clients that send in their questions that they have for myself and for Robyn. So we try to get all the questions that we can within a 30 to 45-minute time period. Sometimes Robyn talks too much, so it goes a little too long. But today we're going to try to keep it under time, and hopefully Robyn will stay away from any sex talk. Because last week it got a little raunchy. My mom had to make a comment on that. So, Robyn, no sex talk this week.
Okay.
All right. So when you're ready, let's get to the first question.
Okay. Number one. Hi, Nick. I've been having digestive issues after each time I consume my post-workout shake, mainly gas and feeling bloated. My shake consists of just whey protein and half a cup of skim milk. Do you have any suggestions that might help?
First thing I would suggest is if you are just doing a basic whey protein powder, is switch that to a whey isolate. There is a significant difference between just basic whey and whey isolate. One whey isolate contains very little dairy. I have clients who are lactose intolerant doing whey isolate and they're fine. So no upset stomachs, no digestive issues, no gas, no bloatedness. And second thing is I would take out the skim milk, substitute that for myself personally. I would just do it with water, but if you need to have a little flavor, I would use almond milk. So I would do that first. I would switch over to whey isolate, number one, and then take out the skim milk and switch over to almond milk, and that should fix the issue. You also might want to get checked to see if you are lactose intolerant, because if you're having those issues caused by dairy, it might be time to take dairy out of your diet as well.
Yeah, and there's also lactose-free milk that you can buy as well.
Yeah, there is.
Which might be an option as well if some people don't like the taste of other things, and that's there, but almond is great.
Have you tried that milk before?
Ish.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's the same. Like I really love, we're gonna get back into this, but like I actually really like the taste of oat and almond milks, but they're very, very, very thick to me.
Yeah.
So I find them like almond and oat milks to be like almost like a treat because I'm wild.
Yeah.
The lactose milks are very I would really have a tough time for anybody trying a difference between regular milk, like to find the taste. There is a small price point difference.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Before we get to the next question, what about on a macronutrient scale? Is it more calories or less calories than, let's say, skim milk?
On par.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There you go. So try that.
There you go. And there's also plant-based if they keep on having. Yeah. Okay.
Next
sorry.
question.
It's
you're
me.
doing
Sorry.
the questions, not me.
I know. Sorry. Hey, Nick, I saw your massive Costco order that you posted on Instagram story with Robyn. How long does an order like that last you?
Well, obviously the person watching the story didn't pay attention. That was Robyn's order, not my order.
I got the blueberries.
Typically an order like that will probably last me, I would say about maybe 2-3 weeks max. I go through a lot of food. Like my grocery bill alone, is probably 3 times the amount that Robyn's grocery bill is. So, I mean, it's a pretty hefty grocery bill. A lot of ground turkey, a lot of chicken breasts, a lot of oatmeal. The reason I go to Costco is actually not to save on price. It's more just for, it's easier to store all the food. I like buying in bulk, so I don't want to make random trips to the grocery store every day. So yeah, a typical order like that I put on my story, 2-3 weeks. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think that's about right.
Yeah. I would actually buy more if my freezer could fit more food in there.
He really would.
Yeah.
He really, really would. We actually joke about moving to a place that Nick can have like an office that's just a freezer room. And it sounds like super like murdery, but his life would be better if he could just have his own freezer room and he would have pre-prep meals. That would be just a huge plus in his life.
That would be my dream. And when I bought,
I'm aware that would be your dream.
You know, when I bought my fridge, I purposely looked for a fridge with a massive freezer. So my freezer is already pretty big. It's not one of those small freezers, but I like to have a lot of food. And now we're in a period where we have to transition the food in and out of the freezer to the fridge, the sink, because there's not enough room in the freezer. So that's my fault.
It's a great dance every time we go to Costco.
I tend to buy too much.
2-3 weeks.
Yeah.
2-3 weeks. And that is mainly, those orders are mainly him.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have my own foods and so on too, but it's that those are mainly, and they always ask if we're buying for a restaurant.
No, it's for her.
Yeah.
But a typical order like that, for 3 weeks, it's only works out to be like $500-$600 max. So it's actually, from a price point, it actually is cost effective too. Great
It
food.
is. And then that sounds like a lot, but not if you actually work it out for what, like remembering that you don't go to restaurants really, or things like that, or that normal people throughout a week could spend 100 to 200 on groceries. So when you add it all up, it does. Yeah. Anyways, but it's 2-3 weeks, 3 weeks, absolute max. Sorry. Okay. Number 3, Nick, can you recommend a good sleep aid? I have no problem falling asleep. However, I constantly find myself waking up throughout the night.
Well, I'm not a doctor, so I shouldn't be recommending sleep aids. I can just tell you for myself personally, when I've had trouble sleeping, and this is usually during contest prep, when my body fat starts getting really low and I'm having a difficult time falling asleep, I'll usually take some melatonin. But I mean, there are people who find that doesn't work very well. And even with melatonin, it's an over-the-counter drug, so it's not that strong. And after a while, it will wear off. So, I mean, your body does build up a tolerance to it. Again, though, one thing that I find does help me sleep and a lot of my clients is food. So I'll usually recommend something like oatmeal or peanut butter, or even a combination of the two prior to going to sleep, because I find the fiber from the oatmeal along with the healthy fats from the peanut butter actually help. I don't know if it's really serotonin levels or what it is, but it just puts people at ease and allows them to sleep. So I usually do oatmeal just before I go to bed, and I'm not worried about the carbs or anything like that, but that usually allows me to sleep pretty well. I'm not a big fan of sleep aids. I want to do everything natural the best I can. But, if you're going to do a sleep aid, I would recommend trying something natural first. And again, not forever, try it for a few days and then take a day off or 2 days off. You don't want to become dependent on something. Do you have a recommendation for a sleep aid?
Tequila and NyQuil.
Don't take that advice. No.
I think that there's bigger things as to why someone isn't sleeping through a night. Sometimes it can be food, sometimes it can be digestion, sometimes it can be a mental block. Like there's a lot of stepping stones there. Yeah. So I think, what you mentioned was on the sort of like the basis of people. Yeah, I think their bodies naturally wake them up because they're in need of something. Yeah. But there's lots and lots of stepping stones. I think the most natural sleep aid that I know of is melatonin. There's comfort things, like I know that often I'll get up and go to, like, I know it's not the most romantic thing, but to the couch or whatever, but just sort of changing the location or doing whatever, because I find myself wandering, read briefly, do whatever. But I think the most natural is to start with a sleep aid. Past that, consult a doctor.
Yeah,
and have it monitored, because some of them get nasty and weird, and I know that from experience, where you're like full on sleepwalking and doing different things. But like I've had full like I had to set up a booby traps for myself for a while because I was on medicated sleep aids, and it's really not healthy. But you need sleep.
One more thing to add to that too is one of my clients told me this years ago, and I know a lot of people know about this, but a lot of people don't, is unplug. So, no phones, no computer, no TV, like 15, 20 minutes prior to going to sleep. Like just let your body unwind.
Even an hour if you can.
Yeah. I mean, whatever it is. But I found I used to do emails until like 2 minutes before going to bed, and like I wouldn't be able to fall asleep right away. Now I let my body unwind a little bit. And
sorry, did you say you used to?
I give myself time. I don't sit on my phone in bed. I never have my phone on in bed. I usually have my phone off. I don't look at emails in bed unless I'm wide awake, but not prior to going to sleep. So unplug. Next question.
Okay. I'm saving this answer. I'm saving that and putting in like statement. Okay. Sorry. Number 4. Hi, Robyn. What type of cardio do you do yourself, and for how long is your cardio sessions? I don't know. I'm not by any means the fitness expert or anything like that. I have actually, it's funny because I've been having conversations with Nick. I've just personally been feeling very unathletic. I don't know if that's the right term, like not in the sense that I'm an athletic person or sports wise or anything like that, but I just feel like I've been sort of losing my cardiovascular ability, and I have been doing less and less cardio purely sort of out of availability and laziness. You know, like what I have for cardio equipment not being as available and not wanting to be outside as much. And then the other option is doing something at home or on the stairs. Well, we've been going through this, and sometimes the stairs hurts my knees. So I've just been sort of backing down and backing down. Typically, I would do 20 minutes after a workout. That's the typical rule, 20 to 30 minutes after a workout. Like a light and steady is sort of my way of going about it. But I find myself right now wanting to get more in because I want to up my cardiovascular ability, because I feel like it's been diminishing. And for me, the best way, it's very easy, like whatever, but it's just simply long walks at a high pace. So if you can do those outside or do whatever, but just a long, I like it slightly inclined walk at a high pace, but the typical rule is 20, 30 minutes after a workout. If I want a quick, if I feel like I'm getting a little thick in areas, or like I need a little trim down, I'll spend a few mornings where I wake up about 20 minutes early and do 20, 30 in the morning fasted. I particularly haven't been the best. I'm actually myself finding a new way to incorporate cardio in different types, like even whether or not it's like a physical activity, you know what I mean? Like when you do like a box or an aerobic or something that is dancing, that it is cardiovascular more than it is a weight lift or a muscle builder.
I think what's important too to remember is it's not necessarily, like Robyn said, it's not necessarily the type of cardio. I mean, I would switch up your cardio just for boredom. Like, you know, you don't want to have boredom, like maybe the treadmill, go to the elliptical, or reopening the step mill, get outside, just do a walk. But it's more important the time of days that you do it. So whether it be first thing in the morning in a fasted state or immediately after your workout, like she's doing, those are going to be your most effective times to do it. But with that said, you know, I always tell all my clients, if those two times don't work for you, just get your cardio in. And you want to have good cardiovascular health. So the two of us always do cardio at least 5 times a week. And I can't speak for her, but for myself, I don't do it to burn fat. I do it just for the cardio components. I want to make sure that my cardiovascular health is in check.
I do it for both, I'd say. I wouldn't say don't do it to burn health, because I have concern about that, and I like that sweat feeling. Yeah. But the having the muscle does that greatly as well. But sometimes I just feel like, I know that I've been feeling recently that I need to sort of switch it up and change it, but just in the sense of I want to improve that sort of athleticism and health that my body isn't giving back to me right now. And I feel like a little bit more in adjusted ways of doing it. And I've been looking more into swimming and actually spin classes too, just to change things around a bit and to really have a set time to push it for myself with that, because I feel like that's actually a thing that I'm lacking a lot right now in my overall health.
And for those that don't know, they've done studies on this. Swimming actually burns the most amount of calories for cardiovascular activity. So if you have access to a pool, I would definitely use it. Take advantage of that, because swimming burns a lot of calories. And one of the benefits of swimming, it's non-weight bearing. So if you have knee issues or you have hip issues or anything like that, obviously running's out of the question for you. Possibly even the elliptical trainer or step mill, or you have difficulty doing. Swimming is going to burn a lot more calories than the bike will.
Yeah, I love swimming. It's just really hard on the hair.
Yeah, I don't have that
an actual concern. I know you don't. You're not worried.
No.
Anyways, but yeah, there's lots of different types. I wouldn't say there's any one direct thing, but it's all, for me, slow and steady. Try to at least do 20 minutes a day. And even if it's emails on my phone while I do a elliptical or something like that, great. I stay away from anything that is too hard on my knees, if possible. Okay, hi, number 5. Hi, Nick. I have a slight tear in my rotator cuff. The doctor said surgery isn't needed. However, stay away from heavy press overhead movements for a couple of months. This means I cannot do barbell military press or seated dumbbell press. Do you have any suggestions as to how I can still work the same area of my shoulders without doing any shoulder presses?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Mm-hmm.
Rotator cuff injuries are quite common. I see them all the time. If your doctor or your physician has recommended no overhead presses, I'm assuming that partial tear is actually in the anterior deltoid, which is the front head of the deltoid. In that case, movements like this person said, shoulder presses, barbell presses, overhead,
I know.
possibly even bench presses, anything that involves the anterior deltoid are out of the question. So if I was trying to still work that area and not let scar tissue build up, because you still want to move that area, it's not torn completely, it still has movement, I would do some front cable raises. So,
Yeah.
that's just something, an easy movement coming up like this. I would recommend using a cable over dumbbells for that, especially considering that the rotator cuff does have a slight tear.
Yeah.
You want to keep as much pressure off the joint as possible and keep it on the muscle. So yeah, I would focus on adding in some front cable raises and then see how that works for you. But the thing is, you don't want to not do anything, because then what happens is scar tissue forms. I was talking to one of my clients the other day about that, who tore his pec a few years ago. Prior to training with me, and he said, I opted for the surgery right away, and I got moving right back in the gym 2 weeks later with just some light movements because I didn't want scar tissue to form. So one of the worst things you can do is do nothing at all, and then I'm going to tell you right now, rehabbing that shoulder coming back, if there's all that scar tissue that's built up, it's going to be hell. So I would do something, and the movement I would recommend doing is some cable front raises. You can check it out on YouTube. There's lots of videos that show cable front raises, or you can go on my Instagram because I have tons of demonstrations of that exercise.
I was going to say, I think that you actually have done a few demonstrations yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
Front raises.
Yeah. Okay. Number 6. Hi, Nick. I watched your YouTube video with realtor Dean Ellison. Sorry.
Yeah,
Dean, yes. Talking about real estate. You mentioned in your video that you bought your first piece of real estate at 18 years old. Please explain in it how you did that. Please explain.
Despite what people think, I wasn't like some kind of crazy drug dealer out there selling drugs or anything like that. I worked my ass off from a young age. No, I did really work my ass off. I mean,
yeah, I know. I don't like that people would think that.
Well, I think some people would, because a lot of people would think, well, this guy buys a condo at a young age, automatically they assume drug dealer or some kind of dirty money. I was bussing tables. I mean, I was working at restaurants. I was working at nightclubs. I was working long days and going to school. So I was able to save up. I think at the time I saved up about 80 grand, 60 or 80 grand, about that. That was my down payment. I got my dad to co-sign for me. My dad could back me on this story. He co-signed for me at the time. I didn't take any money from either of my parents. I got the condo on myself. But the one thing I did mention in that video is the one mistake I made at the time was I was house poor for about a good year or two after I bought that condo. So my furniture basically came from the alleyway. I didn't have any money for anything. So everything went towards the condo. Looking back now, though, the amount I paid for that, I mean, it was great, because look at real estate in Vancouver, how high it's gone. So I was able to get into the market. I was smart. Actually, I thank my dad for this. He was the one who told me to invest in real estate at a young age. So thanks to him, I was able to make that move. So that's how I did it. There was no magic secrets to it. I didn't inherit any money from either of my parents, anything like that. It was just working hard, saving money, and putting it towards a smart investment.
No, and I can speak. I feel that I'm a very moderate person, and I watch my spending, I watch things, but when I watch Nick, and he does it without really thinking about it, it's just what's in his nature, and because he's so mechanical with so many parts of his life, but there isn't, he's had this drive, like work, save, spend appropriately, work, save, spend appropriately. And even when we're talking about Costco, it seems like a lot, but it's all budgeted. So I'm going to spend this amount this time, and this is for this amount of time. It's all very methodical, and there aren't the little treat things. Like I know for myself, like I will go and get the coffee. I will go and, like whatever, like that special extra thing at the grocery store, or these things that it doesn't ever seem like a lot. And we all know the little things add up, but we still do. I know I still do them occasionally here and there, but Nick really doesn't. And it's like truly an ethic that very, very, very rare to find. And that is working with different people in the finance industry and business. It's just, it's rather impressive, without giving him too many kudos, because His
No,
head's already big enough. He can barely
and
get the earphones on.
and the same thing though, I'll say for you too, is neither one of us are frugal by any means. I mean, I like to have nice things. I like to have nice
Yeah.
furniture. Like I like to have nice clothes. Those are things that are important to me. But to me, going to Starbucks and spending, $9 on a latte or whatever they cost, I don't know. It's not even about the cost. It's more about the inconvenience. I can have a coffee at
I
home
know
and I
you
can
miss
bring
it
that
that
to
way.
work.
Yes.
Whether or not you like my coffee, Robyn doesn't like my coffee.
We have two different types of coffee.
Yeah.
He does instant in the morning, and I think it tastes like soy sauce.
Yeah.
And I have normal coffee that I brew in the morning.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing, but brewing the normal coffee isn't a fast enough and efficient enough process for him.
Yeah.
And as he gets up at 4 a.m, it's understandable, but I get up like a couple hours later and it's fine for me.
And, I always want to add to that because, I have to thank my parents for this. And I think you do too, is my parents did teach me really when it comes to, building finances, my parents did teach me a lot. And I mean, I saw them struggle as a kid while we were growing up. Growing up in the 80s, we grew up through a recession, early 90s. I grew up in Montreal. The market there wasn't very good as far as real estate's concerned. So I saw my parents struggle and they both were good, really hard workers. They both worked full-time jobs. So my brother's the same way. He's a hard worker as well. I mean, it's just installed in us from a young age. So I thank my parents for that good work ethic. And I think a lot of people who have trouble with their finances, I'm not going to say everyone, but I think a lot of them just lack that work ethic. Like you have to work if you want something, you have to work for it, period.
Yeah. I don't think it's like
not
I'm
everyone
going to cast judgment on other people's, because sometimes it's, like Vancouver in particular, you've like the minimum wage, you can work 2 minimum wage jobs and you're still not going to own a place right now. Like
you're right.
So I wouldn't say that. And it is also very disparaging when you're like, I think you've got an environment here that's happening that you just know you're not going to get ahead.
Yeah.
And it's a different thing. So, but what you were able to do at a young age and that you've continued to do throughout your life is pretty impressive. However, it might be time to start taking a little bit of a step back and a break before your body breaks.
But I will say this too. I just want to add, I'm going to ignore that. But I'm just going to say this too. You mentioned Vancouver is expensive, and you're right. Vancouver is very expensive, and even though the market's going down a little bit due to COVID-19, it's still very hard, difficult to buy into this market. But there's other markets across Canada that you can buy into. I mean,
totally.
If you've got some money saved up, why not buy a piece of real estate in Calgary right now? Montreal, rent out a property. It becomes a rental income. I mean, so maybe you can't buy into Vancouver market right now, but there are other markets that you can definitely, if you've saved up a good amount of money. I mean, it doesn't have to be a lot of money, but I mean, there's to me, and what I'm saying is you can always find a way and you can always find an excuse. Yeah. So it is what it is. And I'm not saying that everyone who lacks financial skills is lazy by any means. I know everyone has different circumstances, but I'm saying if you're an able-bodied person and you can work and you want something, work for it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that you hit it there right there. It's lacking a skill set of finance. It's not always about different things, but anyways, it is impressive what you have done. Okay, number 7. Hi, Nick. Do you have any news on whether Steve Nash plans to open or plans on reopening their locations this month?
I don't know why people keep asking me about Steve Nash. I think so.
Steve Nash Fitness World.
Yeah. So Steve Nash Fitness World is a training facility here in Vancouver, British Columbia. It's a chain gym actually. So I've had a few trainers on the channel who've worked for Steve Nash in the past or who work with them
Steve
presently.
Nash Fitness World, yeah.
Steve Nash Fitness World, yeah. And Steve Nash, the NBA player. We're not referring to him, although the gym was named after him. I don't know. The last I heard is that they're restructuring. I thought they filed for bankruptcy. Apparently, they haven't filed for bankruptcy yet. And from what I understand, the bank technically owns them right now, and there's bids have been put forward for the franchise. So that's all I know. I probably know just as much as the general public knows, but I don't have any inside information. I have a lot of clients asking me, what's going on with Steve Nash? I have a lot of clients that actually belong to Steve Nash and they train with me on the side as well. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't work for
belong to Fitness World. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't work. I don't have anything to do with Fitness World. So don't ask me. I'm not the person to ask for that.
No, at all.
I'm not a big Fitness World fan. I'm not bad mouthing them. I think it's a great gym, but I'm not a commercial gym guy. So I don't know.
No. And also, I think you had someone ask you whether or not you would bid for the downtown location, which is a 3-story I don't even know how large, but very, 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 very large. And I think it'd be safe to say that you are probably not going to put in a $4+ million bid for that one location.
No, Robyn wouldn't let me do that.
Sorry.
I don't
Sorry,
have,
guys.
just for the record, I don't have the funds for that either. So if
Yes,
anyone's
that's
asking me if I'm going to buy a Steve Nash, because I did have a client ask me that, the
yes,
downtown
that was sort of
location
the
on
joke.
Granville
Yeah,
Street, I will
that's
not be moving there. No, unless for some reason the rent gets a lot lower. It's not going to
yeah,
happen.
yeah. Okay, anyways, moving on. Number 8, Nick, I joined a gym and have committed to working out 3 times a week with weights for 60 minutes each sessions. Should I do 3 full body workouts, or would you suggest something else?
If you're on a 3-day training split, now I'm going to assume this person might be completely new to the gym. And in that case, I would strongly advise you to hire a good personal trainer just to at least show you a few exercises and
Mm-hmm.
help you design a training split. I think it's such a good investment to hire a good trainer if you're new. I wish when I had first started training that I actually had the funds to invest in a trainer. But I mean, I started training when I was 15 years old. But there was a lot of trial and error. So that would be the first thing I would do. And if you are someone who is new and you don't have the funds for a trainer and you're just trying to put together a training split, the training splits that I recommend for basic beginners on a 3-day split, I would do it something like a chest and back workout for day 1, a shoulders and arms workout for day 2, and then I would throw in a leg and ab workout for day 3. I wouldn't recommend 3 full body workouts at first. I think that's overtraining the body. I'm not a big fan of full body workouts unless you're only doing, let's say, 1 workout a week. But then again, to each their own. But in my opinion, I think it's always good to have a training split. So you're working different muscle groups and work muscle groups that complement each other. So the reason I say chest and back together is it's agonist versus antagonist muscle groups. Shoulders and arms. Well, I don't like working shoulders with chest because when you do a lot of, like, say, overhead presses, then you do a bench press, that's a lot of pressure on the shoulders for a whole workout. So I like to split those muscle groups up. And I find when you throw shoulders in with, say, biceps and triceps, again, you're going agonist versus antagonist muscle groups. So one kind of complements the next. Most of my clients that work with me usually will work with me about 3 days a week. The hardcore ones like to go like 4 or 5 times a week, but that's the split I usually give to them too. And they're not even beginners. So I find that split works well. So chest and back day 1, shoulders and arms day 2, and then legs and abs day 3. That would be a good 3-day training split in my opinion.
Smart. Yeah. Okay, number 9, Nick. I love nuts, but sorry, I love.
Is this your question again? I told
back
you,
into
no
the
more
sex,
sex
yeah.
talk.
Okay, sorry, number 9, Nick. I love nuts, but my friend told me that they're not good if you're trying to lose weight. Should I take nuts off my diet? I want to lose roughly 10 to 15 pounds.
Okay. So the first thing is, what type of nuts are you consuming? I actually have nuts on all of my clients' plans, unless there's an allergy, of course. But the nuts that I usually have my clients consume are almonds and walnuts. I'm not a big fan of incorporating things like pecans and peanuts because those nuts tend to be fairly high in fat. You also have to look at what type of fat. I mean, almonds are very healthy for you. They're healthy fat. Here's the problem, though. Even if you're doing almonds, a quarter of a cup is going to easily exceed over 100 calories.
Yeah.
So, who sits there and has a quarter of a cup of almonds? Most people sit there and they snack. So what I usually do with my clients is I tell them to count out their almonds when I put them in their plan. So if I'm working with, let's say, a woman and she's 130 pounds, I might have her in one meal doing a protein shake with maybe 6 to 8 almonds. And the reason I say that is because if they count them out, they're not sitting there and just like grabbing handfuls of it because they are very calorically dense. So I'm not saying to take nuts out of your diet if you want to lose weight. If anything, fats allow you to keep you stay fuller for longer periods of time. So in any weight loss plan, I usually incorporate a lot of fats, but healthy fats, because overall, if I give someone some almonds, that's going to sustain them until their next meal. So yeah, if you're looking strictly at calories only, which as most people who work with me know, I don't count calories, I count macronutrients. It looks like a lot on paper, but hey, if those 6 almonds are allowing you to eat less food later on in the day and they're allowing you to stabilize blood sugar levels, because don't forget, fats also allow you to stabilize your blood sugar levels, great, throw them in. But again, if you're sticking with nuts, the nuts I recommend using are almonds and walnuts. You want to add anything to that?
No, I think that's good. I mean, it's if that's, I think everyone has something in their diet that they like. I love this. This is great, and something that, especially that in theory is a healthy thing.
Yeah.
It's just about what you add, like what's like adding and subtracting. You
Yeah.
know, like
Yeah.
if that's in, then what is going to be subtracted out? What is the compensation, and what are you doing with it?
Yeah.
You know, as you said, it's a healthy fat. That's not going to be what causes the weird cellulite or the weird fat that you can't get rid of or anything like that. It will sustain. Yeah, I think it's just how you want to make it work. And I think that you really hit the nail on the head when you said about mindful eating, because it is a smaller item. I think that anything like that, I know it, myself included, that sometimes you just mindlessly eat, especially if you're working from home or just sitting there
Yeah.
at the desk and da 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 da. So it is about portion control with items like that.
And you know why that's also a perfect question too is because there's two ends of the spectrum here. A lot of people will say, "Oh my God, look how much calories are in that, the half a cup of nuts." And
Mm-hmm.
someone else might go, "Yeah, it's a lot of calories, but that's going to stop me from overeating later on in the day."
Mm-hmm.
So you have to look at it from not just the calories or even the macronutrients. Look at the micronutrients. Look at the quality of the food that you're consuming. Like I mentioned, this is a habit I've recently picked up thanks to Robyn. I've been doing peanut butter at night, which is something I never did. But I
That
find,
sucks.
it is your fault because I never used to do peanut butter. But here's the thing: is I don't sit there and eat a whole jar. I'll have like maybe 1 or 2 tablespoons. I
Yeah.
think he thinks I have more, but I find that actually helps curb my craving at night, so I'm not craving sugar. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'm 100, 200 calories if I'm doing 2 tablespoons of all natural peanut butter, but it's 2 grams of sugar and it's natural sugar. So again, you're looking at I'm not gonna be craving those cookies or a bag of chips or whatever later on in the evening. That sustains me, keeps me full, so I don't overeat
Yeah.
and I don't have a weight issue. So you can't just look at the calories on things and say, oh, that's bad. Okay, you have to read your macronutrients, and more importantly, you have to know your micronutrients.
Yeah, I think it's, yeah, and yeah, excellent answer. Okay, number 10, and sorry, it's a bit of an essay, and I might get tongue-tied while saying it, so I apologize. Okay, hi Nick, I'm a 38-year-old woman who has been lifting weights on and off for the past 5 years. I feel that I can lift more weight at the gym, but worry that I lift too heavy and that I will get an extremely bulky look. I know that most trainers say it's impossible for women to get too muscular from weightlifting. However, I've seen quite a few females at my gym who are extremely muscular and fear that I will end up looking like them.
Well, first off, I disagree with these trainers who say that women can't get too muscular because that's not true. Some women
Yeah.
can get very muscular. You have to take into consideration genetic freaks. There's a few genetic freaks out there. There's some people that will pick up weights and they put on muscle like instantly. I've seen it with men and women. And then you have to take into consideration that there's some of these women who are doing anabolic steroids. So you never someone's doing behind closed doors. So don't just assume because you see someone training the gym and because they're big and ripped that you're going to look like that. And so you should back off the weights. I mean, genetic freaks are few in between. There's not many of them out there. Trust me, I compete in bodybuilding shows. There's not many. So chances are you're not a genetic freak. So if you're worried about lifting heavy, that's ridiculous because again, the more muscle you have, the more calories your body's going to burn in a rested state. So if you're looking to add on that lean muscle, I don't like using the word tone, but lean muscle, I strongly advise you lift as heavy as possible. Also, you're not just going to wake up one day, go, oh my God, look at all this muscle. That doesn't happen. You will see your body gradually changing. It's hard when the message comes from me because I'm a big guy. So when I tell females when they first start working with me, no, you're not going to get bulky, they look at me and they roll their eyes like, yeah, what do you know? But when someone like Robyn or say Megan tells them, they're like, oh, okay, that makes sense because they're women who lift heavy weights and Robyn's not bulky at all. I mean, I train with Robyn. I know what she lifts. She lifts very heavy weights and she's not bulky. She's got great muscle tone. So again, I don't like using that word tone, but lean muscle. So first of all, I'm not going to go into the science behind it, but women, with the whole estrogen and testosterone, women do not have the genetics to actually put on substantial amounts of muscle. But again, if you want that nice lean look, I strongly advise lift as heavy as you can in the gym and keep your reps in double digits, none of these like 60 or 70 reps. But
that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, that's another thing I see. I see a lot of women are guilty of this is they go too light in the gym. You want to break a sweat. Those last 2 or 3 reps should be a challenge for you. So, I mean, I have a lot of the women I work with, I have them squatting heavy weights. Like they can't talk and check their phone. They can barely breathe at the end of the workout or during the workout. So you should be lifting a heavy enough weight that challenges you. And I would keep in that rep range of 10 to 15, maybe for warm-up set 20 reps, but I wouldn't start doing like ridiculous amounts of reps, 40, 50, hoping that you're going to tone a muscle. You're not going to tone anything.
or vice versa. Like when you saying like, okay, I'm lifting heavy. So you did like, we see the different types of, there's many different theories and many types around, but if you're doing say one heavy lift or two heavy lifts, like it's not going to burn out and create, like do the muscle the same way. I know for me, like when you get that shake in the muscle,
Yeah.
that's sort of when you know the change is happening inside your body, and that sort of hurt afterwards.
Yeah.
And it's not always pleasant, but that's where the change comes in. The change comes in, that comes from fatigue. You can, like, I think it's about smart lifting. I think the amount of weight times the amount of reps. So one thing that you and I have always talked about, because it changes how you're feeling that day or how you're feeling, whatever. But yeah, you always want to keep the reps between, if you can, one thing that Nick said to me when we started training, if you can do 15 reps, go up. Like if you can do 15 reps consistently with a weight, go up in your weight.
Yeah.
If you can only do 10, stay where you are or possibly go down. But we try to keep 10 to 15 reps for 4 to 6 sets, depending on the muscle group.
Exactly.
And it's that burnout, that constant burnout of the muscle, that you're building the muscle, but in a way that's like, it won't be never bulky or never anything like that. But I do think it's important to the way in which you do it. So if you're lifting heavy one time, don't do that. But if you're keeping within a smart training routine, it's not, you're not someone who randomly puts on muscle with one lift of one arm. You probably won't get bulky. If you are, you're amazing, congratulations. And now you get to go to the gym once a week and then do swimming the other days. Like, I don't know. But
if you are a natural athlete, and we're saying not an enhanced athlete, and you are not taking any anabolic steroids, even if you're just taking over-the-counter supplements, that's fine. And you're a female, even a male. I mean, you look at me, for example, I'm not a massive guy by any means. I'm not doing this type of steroid cycles that they're doing at the Olympia level. I mean, or even at some of the amateurs that I know. So, I mean, your genetics will only take you so far. Okay. So you can't just look at someone in the gym and say, well, if I train like that person, I'm going to look like that. I have a lot of clients that I put on very similar training programs. They don't look anything alike. It's what you put into the workout. So if you're dogging your workout, and I always tell people, train as hard as you can. One thing I do in the gym, I never record any of my clients' weights. I don't care. I don't care what they lifted last week. It's irrelevant to me. I know where to start them on a basic idea, but the workout always changes. So I don't do any like journals or diaries or whatever these people do these days. I've never recorded my own weights. You asking me how much I squat? I don't know. Ask me next week. It might change because it depends on where I put the squats in the workout. And like Robyn said, it depends how I'm feeling that day. There are multiple factors, but all I know is I try to hit that rep range, in my case, of 10 to 15 as the sheet. Okay. So that's just to build good muscle, good, solid, lean muscle.
Yeah. Okay. Lost my place. So, number 11. Hi, Nick. What are some things that I can do outside the gym during my day-to-day routine besides working out to feel safe, to see faster results?
Well, so when you're building muscle is not when you're in the gym, it's when you're outside the gym. So I'd like to call it active resting, which kind of is like, it's oxymoron, right? Because I mean, what does active resting mean? So when my rest day, I usually take Fridays off from the gym. I don't train my body on Fridays, usually, depends on my schedule. During that day though, like I don't do cardio, I work, I make sure I'm eating, but I don't skip my meals. I still get in my 6 to 7 meals a day. I use that time to my advantage. Like I want to rest. When I'm done my workouts on the days I train, I make sure I fuel my body properly because that's when the muscle grows. Okay. If the muscle doesn't grow in the gym, that's when you tear it down. It's going to grow with adequate amounts of sweets, good sleep, good rest, good nutrition. So, that's 80% of the job should be done outside the gym. The rest, 20% should be done in the gym. So you want to make sure you're getting all your meals in. You don't want to think just because you have a day off from the gym that, well, I can go easy on my diet or I can skip that meal or maybe I only need like maybe 4 or 5 hours of sleep. No, you want to get your sleep in. You want to make sure your nutrition. So your days off from the gym should be spent doing things that's going to help you grow. And the way to do that is through proper rest, recovery, and nutrition. So make sure you get all those things in check.
Yeah. Okay, smart. Number 12. Hey, Nick, when do you know it's time to change a training program? I've been following mine for roughly 3 years now.
I would recommend changing your training program when it's not working for you anymore. So
Yeah.
for example, a lot of people say, well, I should do something every week because keep things fresh and interesting. And I know there's a lot of trainers that do that with their clients. I'm not a firm believer in that. I want someone to become really good at something, and then I might add another variation in. Okay. I don't want to just do something that's there to be creative and say, oh, look at this, it's a fancy exercise. I want to do something that's going to work. We know exercises like squats and bench press, we know those work. So, I don't recommend, I always recommend keeping the compounds into your workouts, and then you can
Mhm.
add some variations in, but don't spend your whole workout doing machines and cables and kickbacks. I mean, don't be afraid of those free weights.
Yeah.
So I don't set a timeline, say, well, I'm going to do this 6-week plan and then I'm going to change it up, or I'm going to follow the Rock's 8-week mass gaining program. I change up programs. I listen to my body. So yeah, sometimes things get boring. So it's a good idea to freshen things up a little bit too. But I say when it stops working. So if I notice that for some reason, like my legs are not looking as good as they used to work, or they're not as muscular, or my biceps don't look
Yeah.
as big, then it's time to change up my workout because my body just has become too stagnant and my body knows what to expect. I
Yeah.
always like to keep the body guessing. So I might, with my own clients, I might give them the exact same exercises in one workout, but I might switch up the order on them, or switch up the rep scheme on them, or give them less rest in between sets, or maybe I'll do a superset or a circuit training or whatever it is, just to change it up. So I'm not trying to necessarily change up the entire workout. I'm just trying to add little different variations into the workout. But I still recommend to keep the compound lifts in, and don't be afraid to keep all the free weights in as well, because to me, free weights are always going to be better than machines.
Yeah. And I also think it's what's serving you. Like, so say that I know a lot of my working out is aesthetic, but it's also for building muscle, healthy life. What I do today is going to make for a better tomorrow. And lately I've been thinking I want to have a more athletic capability. Like I'm slightly changing my goals. So my workouts will slightly change with that too. I want my body to serve a different purpose.
Yeah.
So what purpose do you want for what to serve your body? If that changes, change your workout. But I don't think if it's, I, I think you always say if it's broke, don't fix it. If it's not broke, don't fix it. But at the same time, I also know that sometimes we've gone into the gym and he's come up with a whole new idea. Like if I slightly maneuver this exercise this way or twist it this way, I think that we can get a better set with this. And that's great when he's been thinking about it, because then we go through a workout process of a new form that he's tried, and it's painful and awful, and you see immediately great change. So I think it's sort of a mix between a mental exhaust too, and how your body is serving you.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it also helps know your anatomy and physiology, because like Robyn said, if you're having, let's say you're having some slight tendonitis in your arm, or let's say you have tennis elbow or golfer's elbow, or like a rotator cuff problem, let's say, you want to be able to think, okay, what's an alternative exercise? And you don't want to think what's the fanciest exercise or what's the newest exercise on YouTube. I mean, yeah, okay, if you want to, but what I would be looking at, okay, what's going to be the exercise that's going to help me get to my goal? And that could be, if I can't do a shoulder press like the person earlier had asked, do a front raise. If maybe I can't do a barbell squat one day because my lower back is bothering me, okay, no problem. I can do maybe a ball wall squat, or I can do a Bosu squat. I mean, there's other alternatives. But say I can't do any squats. Well, what about some walking lunges? What about stationary lunges? So you have to find an alternative. And that happens all the time for me, because I work with people all the time who are coming in who are injured or who have physical limitations. So you have to kind of think, okay, what can I give this person that's going to be just as beneficial? So I would suggest strongly, like, look into your anatomy and physiology. Even take a course or study the book on anatomy, and you'll see how the human body actually operates.
Yeah, smart. Okay, number 13. Hi, Nick. What happens when your clients achieve their target fitness goals? Do they stop working out with you? Do they take time off the gym?
No and no. Uh, my clients never achieve their goals. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that once they achieve the first goal, let's say I work with someone whose goal was to lose 20 pounds. Okay, we lose those 20 pounds. Then what? How do we A, keep that weight off? And B, we have to set a new goal, because I always want to keep the carrot in front of the horse. Okay, so it's always like, okay, I want you to have a bigger goal next. So yeah, your goal was to lose 20 pounds. You look great. But, you could add some more size to your delts. You could add a little bit more muscle definition to your biceps, your triceps. I don't have to say it. They say it themselves. I've yet to meet one person who's completely satisfied with the way they look or the way they feel. So I might have someone come in to me and say, I got my goal. I'm good. But how do I maintain this now? So then we might go on a maintenance program. But the thing is, I don't really have anyone on a maintenance program, because they always say, well, now I want to do this, or now I want to do this. I've had people who from day one never went to a gym, and now they're competing on stage. So, I mean, the goal changes with time. And I think what happens is once you achieve one goal, it's like they say, once you make your first million, well, now what? Now you want to make, 5 million, 10 million. So, I mean, it's not greedy. It's like, I want to keep setting a new goal. So I always tell people to set a new goal. And when you're getting close to achieving your goal, get that other goal in the back of your head. Say, well, now I want to do this, and now I want to do this. So then you're constantly motivated to keep going to the gym. Don't get satisfied because you hit your weight loss goal, or you got, you hit your pant size. Like, that's great, good, but keep going. Set a new goal now. And I don't recommend taking time off from the gym, because then you're just going to backtrack. So definitely don't take time off the gym. But no, I've never had a client to this day achieve their goal and say, okay, see you later, I'm done. It doesn't happen, because now there's a bigger goal to achieve.
Well, and also it's your body. Like, it's not going to, once you reach your goal, whatever that is, it doesn't like say, okay, goal achieved, you've now acquired this and you will be this size, this body for the rest of your life. Yeah. It is a constant work. Like, so you wanted to make $5 million, you made $5 million, you invested that, whatever. You can safely say, okay, I've got around $5 million for the rest of my life for my net worth. But bodies don't operate that same way. Like, you've reached your goal of being size whatever. If you all of a sudden decide to stop working out and eat pure cake or do whatever, it won't maintain. No. We have to, our bodies are a living, moving thing. It's, you have to we need maintenance. We need regular maintenance to keep us going. And the better we maintain, the better we live into old age.
And another thing to add to that is, once someone gets a little taste of that success, they want more. So I've never met someone. Yeah, exactly. I've never met someone who's completely satisfied. They're like, man, I look great. I feel great. I can fit into this dress size or this pant size. And I'm like, but now I want to do this. I'm like, great. There's your new goal. Set it and let's go attain it. So always keep setting a new goal. Get ready for that next one. And if you're working your ass off when it comes to, let's say, changing your aesthetics, and you're doing everything with your diet and your training, I mean, in the back of your mind, you should be thinking, okay, what's next? What do I want to achieve? And that right there will keep you motivated to keep coming back for more.
Okay. That's not, okay. Number 14. Nick, what is your opinion on cheat days?
I hate them. I think they're ridiculous. I don't believe in cheat days. I believe in cheat meals. A cheat day can throw off an entire week of dieting. I don't know where people get off with these cheat days. One of the things I do with every single client that works with me on a nutritional plan, you can ask every single one of them. I strongly advise them all to put their cheat meal in as the last meal of the day. And the reason I do that is, once they have that little bit of taste of, let's say it's like, a pizza or something like that, something fried or something really tasty, sugary, ice cream, your body generally will want more a few hours later.
Yeah.
Have that as your last meal of the day. You go to bed, you wake up, you're ready for your bowl of oatmeal, cream of rice, Ezekiel bread, whatever you are on your diet plan, because you're ready to go again. So I don't recommend cheat days. I think, again, a cheat day, it's so easy to consume 3, 4, 5,000 calories in a cheat day of dirty food. It's easy to do that. And that can really throw off a week's worth of dieting. Remember, there is, I don't calorie count, but there are 3,500 calories. There is 3,500 calories in 1 pound. So you take a whole cheat day and you can go up to 7,000 calories. There's 2 pounds right there easily. So I don't recommend cheat days. And also, after a cheat day, how's your body going to recover? You're going to feel bloated, gassy. You're going to feel lethargic the next day. It's like you're hungover. I've never had anyone have a cheat day and say, man, I feel really good the next day. A cheat meal sometimes, yes, but not a cheat day. So I do not advise doing cheat days. I think 1 cheat meal a week is fine. 2, if you're not really, training for a contest or you have a little bit of off season or something. But yeah, 1 or 2 cheat meals, not cheat days. How about you? Do you do cheat days?
No. But I'm also not as regimented as you. Like, if I want, I choose to eat healthy foods with portion control.
Yeah.
And what's working for my body that day. If I decide I want to add blueberries to my oatmeal or do whatever, then that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And that keeps away all the major goes. If there's one day that I decide I really want a cookie, I'll have cookie. The binging that people talk about, like the cheat days or cheat meals with binging, it's just really, really unhealthy. And then get into eating disorder activity.
Yeah. And
that's a road that's very, very scary and about to go down for a multitude of reasons, because now you're into a mental disorder that's harder to cure than a workout or a lifestyle.
Yeah.
you know, it's getting away from the reward system that our brain offers us from those foods,
Yeah.
and finding, you know, other reward systems from being healthy and overall going, you know, high fats, saturated foods, they give us that endorphin and that reward system automatically. Sugar, so it's finding other reward systems. And if you want to have that on occasion, sure, like I do, Nick does. It's just doing it within reason, and um, choosing quality.
And like Robyn said too, I'm going to add to that. You shouldn't reward yourself with food. You're not a dog. Okay. When the dog does something good, or we want the dog to do something, what do? We reward them with food, right? We get a dog to sit, we get a dog to, you know, sit down or just sit pretty, whatever it is, reward them with a treat. So I tell my clients, I'm like, you really shouldn't try rewarding yourself with food. You know, if you hit a weight loss goal, for example, go out, maybe buy yourself a new outfit. Okay, go out for a nice dinner, but not necessarily because you're craving that dinner. Just think, you know what, I want to have a nice dinner with my girlfriend or my boyfriend, whoever, my husband, wife. But I wouldn't say, man, now I hit my weight loss goal, I'm going to go eat that big pizza. Like that to me is, it's not like and I used to have that mindset after every time I did a show. I'm like, oh man, I'm going to eat this, that, and that. But as I got older, I realized, like Robyn can tell you, we've done shows and we go back to the hotel room and I'm like, she's like, what do you want? I'm like, I just want oatmeal. And that's because I've learned over the years not to reward myself with food. Okay, I'm not a dog. I'm a human. I don't need to have it my treat because I'm good.
But at the same time, I think that in every culture, in every place in humanity, all throughout the years, always celebrating with some sort of food, like a celebration, like food and celebration goes together. And for a long time in many societies, and for many people now, food is a source that we don't all have.
Right.
So I think there's okay to have celebration and worth within food. It's okay to have family and like I know I could be harsh and I show my love sometimes, like I made this for you. This is my love. This is my love to my family. I did this for you. But it doesn't just always have to be in like I do that within my style of cooking. I think that you can celebrate within food. It's just being sensible.
And just to go back to that, I don't want to make this an oat milk conversation, but there's a difference between celebrating and rewarding yourself.
Yeah.
My stance is I don't think you should reward yourself for doing something good with food. Okay, that's where I stand on that.
Yeah. Okay. Number 15, final question. Hi, Nick. I was recently diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. I was told by my doctor that I need to lose some weight. What weightlifting, would weightlifting would be too dangerous for me to incorporate into my training routine? Did you get that, or do you want me to repeat?
Yeah, no, I understood that. Yeah. And definitely not. You know, I've got 2 clients who are type 2 diabetics. And actually, I had a client a few years ago, and actually she still trains with me today, who is no longer type 2 diabetic. We were able to reverse it through diet and training and supplementation. So the only thing I would recommend is having, you know, check your insulin levels throughout the workout. So you can do that by having a blood sugar monitor on hand. I've got one of my clients that has that to check every once in a while. And then have something fast acting, like maybe a Gatorade or Powerade, even though I'm not a big fan of that, but just in case, a fruit juice or something during the workout if you need it. Occasionally I have one client who is type 2 diabetic, and occasionally he might need to have that because, you know, blood sugar levels are low and he starts to feel dizzy or faint. But if anything, I would say definitely add it to your routine. Definitely add weight training into your routine to help with that. Just closely monitor your insulin levels. Okay, that's a big thing with type 2 diabetics. You want to really make sure you monitor those levels. But I would add that in along with, you know, good diet and training, obviously. But I really think the weight training will actually help you with that. And you know, like my client, you can reverse type 2 diabetes. It can be reversed. So to keep that in mind, I mean, you can change that. Will weightlifting change it alone? Probably not. But I mean, the healthy lifestyle will. So it can help.
Stepping stones to an overall.
Yeah, totally. Was that the last question?
That's it. We're all done.
Hopefully we got that in a reasonable time frame. Thank you, everyone. This video will be going up later on this week. Robyn, thank you again for doing an amazing job. She's always good at reading those questions and answering some of the questions for me. So I appreciate it. Okay, thanks, everyone. Have a great day. Bye.